I also forgot to put the correct camera on. Hi, everyone. Thank you for showing up to this live. Apologies, we didn't do one last week, and apologies, this is a bit later than expected. Had some unexpected things come up today, which is why it started later, and it's also why we're in this room, because due to some events, it makes it a bit difficult to do it downstairs because it's going to be very loud. So I also forgot to attach the camera before I set up YouTube, and for some reason, I can't set up the camera afterwards, which is why it's that grainier quality, but you have to deal with it, I suppose. But yeah, I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope everything is going amazing. Everyone's getting all those successes and things are good. Other than that, when some questions start coming in, we'll start answering them. So Rev T Daz says hi, howdy, howdy. Satyam says, hey, howdy, howdy. Glad to have you both here. Thank you very much for showing up. For anyone watching this live or post live, I suppose, or post being posted, if you could drop a like on it, that just really helps the YouTube algorithm, helps push it out and everything. And it's just, just helps us out. So if you could do that, that'd be greatly appreciated. Hannah says, hello, howdy, howdy. Arville says, hello, howdy, howdy. Caroline says, hey, howdy, howdy. Alexandra says, hello, howdy, howdy. And H says, hello, Matt, howdy, howdy. No, hello, you, just hello, me from H.
Just
hello, Matt.
Hi, Matt.
Satyam says, hey, bro, my uncle spread a lie about my father. Help me. Okay, so what kind of thing are you wanting help with? Are you wanting help in spreading it more? I don't know. You might not have a good relationship with your father. No, but what's your end goal? If we go for that, then we might be able to help you out a bit more. Ishita, apologies if I said that wrong, says, hey, how are you guys doing? I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you doing? And Katie?
I'm all right. I have a real bad toothache, so I'm probably gonna disappear in a little bit.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you for showing up. Violinist Yogesh Official says, namaste, howdy, howdy. Glad to have you here. Carolina says, my subconscious has definitely been impressed. I don't feel the need to do any technique. I barely think about my desire. I just know it's mine and done. Best feeling of peace. That's really good to hear. That's a very good place to be in. It's so freeing. You can just go on and live your life knowing that it's on its way. And that's a good place to be. That's where I try to occupy with almost all of my things. Tomorrow's video actually is going to be about that. It's going to be addressing the misconception of letting go, or my opinion on letting go and why I think it's a misconception, and how to get into a position where you're in. Because when you're in a position that you're in, even without your desire currently in your 3D reality, it's so much more freeing to be. So I want to help try and get as many people there with tomorrow's video, as well as the giveaway will be in tomorrow's video as well. Rev T says, howdy, howdy to the gorgeous two. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you to say, and howdy, howdy to you also. H says, put yourself in my feet, guys. If everything in your life is going okay, but the main desire remain elusive, what would you do? In my opinion, I'd be enjoying my life. If I'm focusing on, let's say, money, career, physique, relationship, and moving house, just there's 5 examples. If I have like the most banging physique, I'm earning good money, my career's going well, and I've just moved house, I definitely wouldn't be personally that concerned about the 5th element. If I've covered every area of my life and everything else is going okay, I wouldn't be too personally concerned, because I try not to attach myself to any specific thing so much so that I'm like, well, without this thing, I'm not happy. Like there's a lot of things that if I could just pick and choose, I would change, i.e. a bigger house. I suppose I can pick and choose, but I mean, if it was like right this second, you know what I mean? Bigger house, the band being like worldwide famous, but I'm not in need of those things because I'm quite happy with how everything else is going. The channel's doing well, Kate and I are doing well. My money situation, all that's doing well. So I don't really get caught up on the little things that I have noticed haven't changed yet, because I'm too busy just enjoying everything else. But in terms of what would I do, if it's like, how do I continue to manifest that final thing? I would stop focusing on it so much, not in a sense of like to take your attention away so that you don't, I've stopped focusing on it so much as in not noticing that it's the 5th element that's not doing so well. And I would just continue to go, everything else is going well, including this. I would try to add it into my awareness of how well everything else is going, my awareness with how well other things are going, and then take it from there. Satyam says, my uncle said my father used second product and we don't work hard. And I'm assuming that you don't want that to be spreading. If so, you can obviously revise it, as in, like, my uncle has always said the nicest things about my father. What is the problem with the lie, in a sense of what's the outcome that is what you dislike? For example, if I don't know, if my colleague spread a lie about my family life to someone else that I worked with, and that was making it so that I could potentially get fired, just as an example, my negative outcome would be the idea I'd get fired. So in this instance, what's the negative outcome of this lie that you're hoping to try and rectify? And we can obviously go with that. But for now, you like my first suggestion would be you could revise it to say something like your uncle has only ever said the nicest things about your father. That would automatically revise the fact that anything negative was said. Haiti says, hi, how are you? Very good, thanks. How are you? Puan says, hi, Angel sister. Hi, Angel sir. Howdy, howdy. Thank you for showing up. Oh, I skipped. Thank you, YouTube, for that lovely feature. Every channel says, hey, my SP and I broke up a month ago. I know 3D doesn't matter, but the other day I searched her on Facebook seeing she unfriended me randomly. It's hard not to overthink. This is why I will always advocate never do anything in the 3D. You know, prior to this, you probably had negative thoughts because everyone does. I've accidentally got my calendar up on my thing. There we go. Prior to this, you probably would have had negative thoughts and stuff because everyone will. But now that you've done that action, you now have more things to be concerned about. Technically, they aren't to be concerned about because the 3D doesn't matter, but your logical mind will go, oh, she's unfriended me. Here's this thing I need to be concerned about. This is why you guys, everyone, not just you specifically, but everyone needs to have that discipline to say, I want to do something that does not guarantee me something positive. You know, like if you're to check their social media, especially in a state of a separation, there's very, very rarely going to be anything positive on there to see. So why would you deliberately do it to yourself? But as for like where to go from here, because it's done, you can revise that it's done if you want to, or simply just move forward, dealing with those feelings and anxieties and overthinking that it's brought up, work through them, deal with them effectively, understand the root cause of why certain things have made you feel a certain way. Once you've dealt with them effectively, then go on to your end result of, I'm assuming, being back together in the lovely relationship that you want to be. But everyone, including yourself, needs to stop checking social medias and texting and all of this stuff because you're just giving yourself more things to fight. You're adding more hurdles to your path. Not literally as in manifestation hurdles, but to your conscious logical mind that feeds that story to your subconscious mind. You're giving yourself more hurdles to overstep. You know what I mean? Violinist Yogesh Official says, I'm affirming for my SP and also persist in my affirmations. So visualization is necessary or not. No technique is any more necessary than any other technique. Techniques are just a way to structure your thoughts. Many people will struggle to just think of themselves in a relationship, for example. So we've got the different techniques to help structure the way you think. A script is a written thought. An affirmation is a spoken thought. A visualization is a visual thought. They're all just different ways to structure your thoughts. So if you're doing affirmations, spoken thoughts, and you feel like you don't need to do the visual thoughts, don't do them. If you feel like you'd enjoy doing it and it helps you stay in that end better or more consistently or something, by all means add it in because it's a way that you find you can structure your thoughts more effectively. So if you want to do it, but it isn't necessary. As long as to some degree your thoughts are being placed on the end result through whatever technique you choose, that will be enough. As long as you're doing it more than you're thinking about the negative, obviously. Oh, YouTube skipped again. Carolina says, yes, definitely. I finally have experience being in the present moment and being able to do things I love without being in my head all the time. I'm glad to hear it. It's a very amazing place to be. And that's when you'll find that successes start rolling in and then everything just starts to flow. And it's just like, H says, I know my main resistance is from the past and resentment. What would you do? Like anything specific that I have not done? So off the top of my head, I don't know 100% of what you may or may not have done. I know like parts of it, but when it comes to resentment, there's a couple of things to consider. A, resentment is purely based on your perception of events. Everything is based on your perception of events. Certain things would have happened, and the way that you perceive them is what creates a story within. An example of this, the event of getting fired is neither positive or negative. The reason being, to someone who hates their job, getting fired could be the most biggest blessing they've ever received. Someone who loves their job, getting fired would be the worst thing that they've ever received. So it's the same event. It's our perception. It's the individual's perception of said event that creates that negative or positive judgment. So because resentment is merely a perception, shift that perception. So you can either practice forgiveness, quite literally saying to yourself, I forgive person for XYZ thing. I forgive them for doing this. I forgive them for doing that. Practice forgiveness. Aside from that, you can work on the actual root cause of why that judgment was made. So they did this thing This thing made me feel a certain way because of, and then insert whatever it is that it made you feel, and then target that root cause. When you build up that sense of self within that area, you more than likely will not hold as much resentment because it doesn't affect you as it did in the negative way. For example, going back to the money, because I think money is always the easiest way to explain this. If I was broke and someone called me broke, I may get a bit upset because I'm assigning that truth to myself in with their words. I'm seeing myself as broke and going, oh, that hurts my feelings because I am actually broke. If I then work for, let's say, 6 months and become a millionaire within that 6 months and someone calls me broke, is it going to bother me? No, I'm probably going to laugh it off because I now am a millionaire. The old me, the broke me, would have been upset. The new me is no longer upset because I've worked on that part of myself that was upset with what they said. Now, I know money's a physical thing, but you get where the analogy is going or the example's going. Same thing here. Their behaviors made you feel a certain way, now makes you keep that resentment in place because you haven't shifted that internal part of yourself, or may not have. Obviously, you said things that I haven't tried, so I don't know 100% if this is one you have tried. But they may or may not have, you may or may not have adjusted or worked on that element of yourself that this event has created a discord with. And therefore, that's why you still hold on to that resentment. You feel like you need to punish them the way that you feel punished instead of working on that element of yourself that has allowed yourself to be punished. Drakari Snow says, hello, guys. Howdy, howdy. Alexandra Aodish says, how do you deal with emotional moments? Like if you're feeling really, really sad about the circumstance. So I find sad the easier to deal with than anger personally. But when I feel sad about things, depending on where I'm at, I'll do different things depending on like what kind of time I have, who I'm around, all that kind of stuff. I try my best to just kind of resort back a bit and just kind of just chill on my own and actually deal with those feelings, understand why I'm sad, understand where it's coming from, understand, very similar to the last thing, what my perception of events has created in order for me to feel sad. And I'll try to work on them from a root cause standpoint so that hopefully the thing that makes me feel sad won't have as much of an effect on myself. That's something I'll do if I have more time and if I'm generally either alone or have the space to be alone. If I don't, and I need to make sure that I don't immediately react or immediately do something negative, I'll try the why would I care method, which is literally just like slapping a plaster over a big wound. Well, it's not really like slapping a plaster over a big wound. Without dealing with the emotions, I feel like sometimes it can be. So if like I have something like really bad happen, I'll just be like, it is what it is, or why would I care about this? And then when I have the time to sit with it, then I will. And I feel like the why would I care just kind of helps my mind answer that question. Why would I care? Well, I wouldn't care about this awful thing because look how amazing everything else is and that kind of stuff. Those are generally the two ways that I try to deal with things. And failing that, I just explode, which I don't recommend because yeah, but I recommend definitely the first one. I think the first one is the most healthy way. I think the why would I care method is extremely effective for things that trigger you, but not on a basis where it feels extremely bad. If they feel like extremely bad, I'd say try the why would I care, but then when you get some time, actually sit with why you do care, because you want yeah, it's more of like oh, let's chill. And then that's really good for things that actually aren't that big of a deal. You just feel like a little bit triggered, really good for those. And then like the bigger things I'd recommend sitting with and releasing effectively. Satyam says, I want everyone to trust us and get their work done by us. Oh, okay. So this is to do with the lie. Okay, so go on, I'll let you take this
I
one.
was just gonna say, in this instant, because like one thing that I quite often tell myself, is that people can lie about you, and people do lie about you. It happens quite often, but I just genuinely, believe that no matter what the lies that people are gonna say about me, it will not reflect in anybody else's vision of me. Like people can say as many lies as they want about you, but that will not change the perspective of everybody else around you. They cannot possibly have that influence over everybody in your 3D. This is your 3D. So you choose what people think about you. And people spreading lies about you is probably going to happen no matter what you do. I don't think it's one of those things that you can stop, but I do think it's one of those things that you can basically just go, I don't care. Like you can say what you like about me, but it's not going to affect everybody else's opinion of me, because I know that people know me and not what you think of me.
One thing as well to consider is the idea that you can always put a positive spin on something. So you can revise the lie if you really don't want the lie to be in existence. If you want to go straight to the end, which is generally what I would recommend the most. So you say here that you want, sorry, I scrolled up to see the beginning part. So you say here you want everyone to trust us and get their work done by us. Go straight to that. Oh, hang on, you said some more. So let me cover the rest first. Before my uncle spread the lie to my father was king of the area because of his skill and work. My uncle never came to us, and will this affirmation work? Will it change the past? So, oh, it just skipped again. So yeah, the affirmation should be fine. I generally would say, I've mentioned this in previous lives and videos and stuff as well. I generally would go with more of what you want as opposed to the lack of what you don't want. So in this case, your uncle, you say that your affirmation is my uncle never came to us. You're placing your focus on the lack of what you don't want. So you didn't want your uncle to come to you, therefore didn't want the lie to be made. I would recommend more so going for what you do want. I think it adds more of a power position and it doesn't put you so much on the back foot. For example, he never came to us is you, to a degree, basically trying to remove what has happened because of the negative behind it. The reason why I think that that is negative, or not the best thing to do, sorry, is because it has a negative element. What I would advise, and you don't have to follow this, just as my advice, is I would say something like, my uncle only ever says positive things, or my uncle coming has made it so that our business has grown bigger because of the nice things he said, or something along that nature. The reason why, if you choose not to just outright revise the situation, as in just focusing on it's never happening in the first place. And by that, again, I mean from a positive standpoint. The reason why I recommend what I've just said there is because it puts more of a beneficial thing. You're not on the defense as much saying, oh, he never came. You're now more on the attack, so to speak, of this is all the amazing things that came out of it, or he's only ever said good things. Keep your affirmation if you absolutely want. That's just my personal preference. I think it should still be fine, so to speak, because you're revising that you never came, so it should be fine. But whether or not it leads to the results that you want in the long run, who knows? Because it's not outright stating that. It just says that he never came. But you know, that's up to you for your discretion. I can't remember if there was another point that I was going to make on it before I read the rest of your things. But oh yeah, and assuming if you don't want to go straight to the end and you don't want to revise it, put a positive spin on it. So, for example, my uncle's lie has made it so more people want to test out just to see what we're like, and they actually find out that they love our product or they love our service. Sorry. So you can kind of put like a positive spin on it like that, because the way that I like to operate is any publicity is good publicity. You know, for example, and I know mine will be very different to your certain situation, but negative comments on my YouTube channel, do they suck? Obviously. Do they help the algorithm? Yes, they do. So even when someone says something like, "Oh, you're a pile of shit," I'm like, "All right, but you've just made us so got an extra 100 views from people that love my content. So thank you for that." You know, and you can always put that positive spin of, yes, this isn't the most fun thing to happen, but there's always a positive outcome you can make out of it. So either revise, go to the end, or put a positive spin. H says, you know what I observe it. No, I'm assuming you mean now. If you, that's good. If you mean what I think you mean there, then that's good. Observing is always good. It's always good to be observing and aware and stuff. We have 40 people in the stream, which is great, but only 17 likes. So if you guys could like the stream, it just really helps it push it out, and it means a lot, you know. Summer Rain says, hey Matt, hey Katie, howdy howdy.
Hello.
Carmen Hancock says, hi Matthew, love your videos, they help me so much. I'm really glad to hear it. Thank you for showing up. Satyam, oh, that's the thing that I just read. Leanne D says, hi guys, howdy howdy. Katie Johnson says, hi you two. I was wondering if you seem to manifest other things easier than SP. Why is the SP resistance so strong, and what are the top ways to reduce the resistance besides affirmation? Okay, cool. So people left. So
rather than liking it,
they're just not liking that. Bye. Okay, so the reason why, and I think I want to point out here that you're saying SP because that's your certain situation. Things manifest faster than others when you care less. So in your case, it'll be SP, but this can happen with any kind of topic. Someone could have amazing success with SP, but really struggle with money and be in the same situation as you. The reason why resistance is often so strong is because of the opposing story that you have internally. Dominant state is a percentage, not a quantity. What I mean by that is you need to be in the dominant state to manifest your desires. We all know that. We've all heard that a million times. Having 1,000 thoughts, the dominant state is at least 501 of those being in the end result. Having 10 thoughts, the dominant state of that is at least 6 thoughts. The less thoughts you have, the less you have to do work, so to speak, to manifest that certain desire. This is why stupid things like finding a penny on the floor, or when you think of your mum, she calls you, and all of these kind of things manifest so much faster. There's less of a care, there's less of an opposing story toward it, and therefore it's a lot easier for these little thoughts that you have to have more power. Like I said, if you have 1,000 thoughts, if you really, really care about this particular thing, because most people, when they severely care about something, will quite often think about it a lot. When you really care about this thing, or this thing has had a very big impact on your life, you will find yourself thinking about it naturally just more often, which is perfectly normal. But because you're thinking about it so much, and in a lot of cases, people aren't thinking about it as much in the way that they should be, they really need to consistently be on it with their affirmations or their visualizations and such to basically counteract the negative thoughts that they're having. This is why the things that you have so much resistance towards tend to be the things that you care the most about, the things you want the most. It's because of that. You care so much, therefore, you need to have more dominant thoughts. In order to have that amount of dominant thoughts, you find yourself feeling that element of resistance. You feel like you've been doing it for weeks and months. And then because you've been doing it for weeks and months, you started to have that feedback loop of, I've been doing this so long, why no results? But this other thing came so quickly. And it's kind of almost like a vicious cycle. So that's why the big things, in your case, specific person, seems to have such strong resistance, because you have so much care for this thing, so much want for this thing, that you've created almost a need for it. And that need, as we know, we get what we are, not what we want. Being in a state of need shows that you're not in a state of having, and therefore you have to basically really counteract that by being really dominant with your thinking. So that's why that happens. How to reduce it? Now, there's two ways that I like to do this, and one of this actually brings in the why would I care method, which I just mentioned. But the first one, understand why you want this thing so much. Now, try to look past we had a great connection, because that's what I hear all the time whenever I ask a client this. I always hear we had a great connection, I don't see myself with anyone else. But why? What is it about this person that created that great connection? What is it that you think that with this person, your life is going to be benefited with? Is there anything that you can give yourself that would, maybe not in the exact same way, but would give you that sense of love or connection or passion or drive or whatever it is that you get out of this person right now? The reason why we want to do that is because you're in such a big need for this person, because you have such a big lack within yourself of particular things, going past obviously basic, I'm a person who wants a romantic interest. Quite often when someone is in very big need or obsession or desire for someone, it's because something within them isn't fulfilled enough that they think this person will provide. If we use money as the example, because again, it's easier for me to use those as an example, a poor person will cling to money more because they think, when I have that money, I can finally afford to have 3 hot meals a day. I can finally, repair the house. I can finally give my wife and kids the life that they want. There's always that, I can't do this now, but this thing will change that. So try to work on that element of yourself that needs this thing in order to change it. That will then hopefully create within you a sense of fulfillment, and therefore you don't need this thing as much. If that poor person started to get a pay rise, for example, they may start to notice they have more and more money, and then all of a sudden they won't be as desperate because other things are starting to sort out a bit. That's the first way. The second way is the why would I care method. Literally trick your brain. Our brains are so powerful and yet so dumb at the same time. If you force a smile, you'll feel better. This was something Katie taught me actually. If you force a smile, it kind of just tricks your mind to say, we're good. You can do this here. Your brain loves answering questions. Even if you don't know, if I was to ask you a question, you would try to think of a way to answer it. You would try to give me an answer, even if you have no fucking clue. That's because your brain loves answering questions. So if I say, why would I care if I don't have this thing? My brain starts to go, oh, why would we care? Oh, well, why would we care? And then it basically tries to fill in the blank with some explanation. This is a way to trick your mind to basically say, why would we care? Because if you're asking that question, your mind must have something within it to say that that is truth. We get what we are, not what we want. So if I'm asking, why would I care? That must mean an element of ourselves clearly doesn't care. When you trick your mind with this kind of technique, which is something that, like I mentioned earlier, I do myself, you'll find that your resistance, attachment, need significantly drop. There's literally a client that I had the other day who has taken this on, and he's still obviously like working through some stuff, but immediately within like a couple of days, a day, 2 days maybe, immediately came back to me basically saying that was the first night that I haven't cried since however long they've been in separation, because he wasn't letting the negatives take over, because why would he care? So those are 2 ways to really reduce it and really work on it. H says at attachment. I'm not 100% sure what's meant by that. Apologies. Juhi says, my SP has a bunch of female friends, not, I don't know why I said not, female friends. And if I manifest them away, I feel like I'm taking him away from people who genuinely love him, which makes me feel guilty. And then you say, oh, okay. Oh, that's a separate thing. So we'll get down to that one. Okay. So if it makes you feel guilty, now there's nothing wrong with wanting someone to yourself. I have my own opinions on certain things, but this isn't really the place for it. But there's nothing wrong with wanting someone for yourself, as long as it's within a healthy way. Like if you're taking him away to like abuse him, then I wouldn't say that's a good thing. But if you're genuinely going to give him love and care while he's with you, then I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But if you feel guilty and your guilt outweighs your like desire to manifest everyone away, why not work on the element of yourself that feels uncomfortable with him having so many female friends? Because I'm not gonna, you didn't use the word here, so I may be just making an assumption in here, but in order for you to want to manifest away the female friends, my assumption is either you're jealous that he has female friends or jealous that he spends time with other people that are not you and they just happen to be female friends. Both of them obviously boil but down to jealousy. And again, I may be wrong, just an assumption. So if your guilt to manifest them away outweighs your jealousy, then work on your jealousy element, work on that self part of you that is jealous. So then hopefully going forward, you won't be so jealous and then it won't be such a problem. So then you don't have to feel as guilty trying to manifest them away. Sal or Sal, apologies if I said that wrong. I'm affirming and doing everything to manifest my SP back, and she talks to me on social media, but only sending me memes. What should I do? First off, stop noticing the fact that it's not going the way that you want. Put a positive spin on this. She's sending me memes because we're in a loving relationship. You know, you're seeing her only sending you memes as a negative thing. Many people would love their person to be sending them memes instead of not contacting them at all. So you're in a better position than a lot of people to try to make that work for your advantage. Instead of seeing it as only and it's not here yet, why not see it because we are in a relationship, she's sending me memes? Why not put a positive spin on it? Because every time you notice that she's only doing it or they're only doing it, oh, you did say she's only doing it, you're implying we're not in a relationship, so she's only doing this. And then that's keeping you out of that state. So try to see it and try to put that positive spin on it.
Also, Matthew only ever sends me memes.
Yeah, I do.
Just so you know. Like our whole texting relationship is just memes. So yeah, it's definitely not a bad thing for your person to be sending you memes.
Yeah, it's because it's like the only joy that I have in life. No, checking. Yeah, here's our Instagram. It's just me. It's just me sending memes. Yeah, it's fun. Puan says, I apologize for that. I always say that because I always feel like I say it wrong and you've never corrected me, but I'm going to continue to say it until you either correct me or tell me that I'm saying it right. Sarah, I found my SP love me. I'm happily married to my SP. SP with third party. SP rejected me. How 3D? Oh, I'm assuming I meant to say change. So try to let go of the third party being involved. Try to let go of the rejection. Try to let go of anything that doesn't align with your end result. It's all well and good affirming that SP loves you and is married to you and all those amazing things, which I would say definitely continue. But like I said earlier, if you're having 10,000 thoughts and like 7,000 of them are of the third party and how he's rejected you and stuff, you're still in that dominant state. So affirming the 3,000 times that he loves you, while good, isn't counteracting the dominant negative that you are still thinking. So try, if you can, to let go of those negatives, look past them, deal with the feelings when they come up to effectively let them go, and try to reside in what you want and more so not what you don't want. We all know that affirming or visualization and all these things will manifest. We've all had manifestation success with small things, but just by thinking once. So we know that we can manifest really quickly just by simply thinking a few thoughts. So we know that the stuff that you're doing that's correct, i.e. the SP loves me, SP's married to me, we know they will work. So you know that the only reason why it's not working is because of the counteractive with the negative that you keep thinking. So try to lessen the negative or try to increase the positive. Either balance it out by bringing the negative down here, or bringing the positive up here. Juhi says, Katie, could you share your experience while Matt was manifesting you?
Yeah. So I assume you just want to know like basic thoughts and feelings and what I was doing, kind of thing. So I wasn't. So I was quite I don't know how to how to start it. So basically, what I was sort of thinking was that I was definitely 100% not going to message him, not going to reach out, not going to contact him. This was what I was trying to persuade myself, kind of thing. This was my thoughts. So I was like, no, there is no way. I'm not going to message him. I'm not going to check up on him or anything like that. I was checking his social medias and I was like typing out messages and then not sending them and everything like that. On the day that I was actually like manifested or like, made contact kind of thing, I was literally just at home. I had plans, plans set for the whole day and everything like that. And instead of doing any of my plans, I just simply got in my car and drove to his house. And I had like this overwhelming sense that this was the exact right thing to do and that nothing could possibly go wrong and that there was no bad ideas behind doing this. Bearing in mind, literally the day before and that morning and everything, I was like, no, I'm not going to message him. I'm not going to talk to him. We're done. We're over kind of thing. And then, yeah, it was just a full sort of like 180 and everything had changed. And I was like, yeah, this is the most perfect idea and I'm going to do it and nothing can go wrong. And off I went. If that's what you meant, then that's, it. If you had other questions, just drop them below kind of thing. But
yeah. And then Juhi also says, how do I forgive myself for pushing someone away due to my own insecurities? First off, by claiming that you forgive yourself. I forgive myself for everything I did and everything that was done to me, all those kinds of things. Katie will be disappearing for probably the remainder of the live stream because she's got some stuff to do. So in order to forgive yourself, quite literally stating that you forgive yourself, forgive yourself for the fact that you were insecure back then and people make mistakes. You are human. You will make mistakes. I've done some horrible shit in my life and it wasn't the easiest thing to forgive myself for, but I did it by literally just, accepting that things have happened and that I do forgive myself. And it definitely works. The other element, and I think this will kind of benefit that first part, is to work on those insecurities if you haven't already. A lot of the time, the insecurities that are there, which create these problems, are the same sort of insecurities that continue to make you feel wrong for making those mistakes. Like when someone has a heightened sense of self-worth, you'll find that when they make mistakes, they brush them off and go, gotta try again, basically. But people who have such a low self-worth will see a mistake as, oh my God, that's it, I'm a failure, I can't do this, I can't do that, and all of this negative things. So if you haven't already started, work on those insecurities and you'll find that once you build up that sense of self, you'll find yourself naturally forgiving yourself because you have kind of built up that sense of self-worth. And you'll also find it easier to be on board with the idea that forgiveness is possible. If someone is like an awful person, like an absolutely horrible person and does something wrong, it's going to be a lot more difficult to forgive them because you just see them as a bad person. If someone is generally a good person and they just happen to make a mistake, quite often you'll find other people will forgive them so quickly because it's out of character or anything like that. So build yourself up so you can become that person where it's like, oh, well, she or he, sorry, apologies, I don't know based on your name what gender you are, but this person is so amazing. Look at all the stuff. Yes, they may have had some insecurities in the past, but look how amazing they are everywhere else, and it can kind of help you build up that sense of self-worth. So build up your self-worth and try to actually claim to yourself that you forgive yourself and that what's done is done, or you could revise it. But in terms of forgiveness, those are two ways. Leanne D said, Matt, what was the moment when you started to feel you're limitless and you can manifest anything and you could see it for real in a 3D? How are you feeling at this point? So I've had a few of those. I suppose in a way, each one of them almost like solidifies some of that stuff, because I never lose faith, so to speak. But sometimes just naturally I forget just how powerful this shit is, so to speak. So the first like big thing was when I manifested Katie back, obviously, and it was just kind of like, all right, this is not actually that hard when you commit to it. And I know many people are probably really angry that I said it's not actually that hard, but for me, I actually found manifesting Katie back fairly easy. So that was one of the big things. Another thing was manifesting my job, which if you haven't watched the success story video that I made, the reason why that one is such a big significant thing is because I got rejected twice and I still got it. And most people would have said, well, how are they going to hire me if I've already been rejected by them twice? But I didn't. And this proved to me personally that nothing can stop you if you don't stop yourself. And those two things basically helped me realize just like that anything is possible, absolutely anything. I'd had other successes in between them with like other people, money, career, all that kind of stuff. But those two things were like the huge things for me. But then another example, which is one that kind of just reiterated that, I suppose, was last month when my channel blew up. I don't know if any of you saw it, because I don't know how many of here have followed my TikTok and Instagram, but I did a little video where I did like I did a little video. I can't remember what the topic was or how it was, but I basically wrote down about manifesting. I think it was something like I wrote down a goal and then I wrote down like how I would think, how I'd feel, and how I would operate. And the goal was to reach 5,000 subscribers. And I did that on video. That was the first time that I did that on video. And then after that I did it a couple of more times just within myself and kind of practiced it. And then literally within like I think it was less than a couple of days, maybe even I think it was like a week or so, we exceeded 5,000, exceeded 6,000, and in less than a month we exceeded 7,000. Client base blew up, videos went viral, just out of nowhere, all just by doing these couple of little mini scripts and kind of thoughts and feelings and stuff. And it was, even though obviously I already knew that I was limitless by this point, it was just one of those little things that I was just like, wow, that really does just fucking show it, less than a week. And I'd blown up by 3,000 subscribers when it had taken me just over a year to gain the first 4,000. So it was just like this massive, in less than a month, to reach the full 3,000. It was less than a week to get to 6,000, less than a month to get to 7,000. And it was just one of those things that said to me, it's just like, this is just anything, massive career growth, massive relationship growth, just anything. And those are like the three things that I will probably refer back to for quite a while to show like where it all really kicked in for me. Jakari Snow says, hi, Matt and Katie. Apologies, Katie's not here to hear it, but I'll try to remember to let her know. Hope you're well. We're very good, thank you. Hope you are too. How do you get over the fear of it taking time? Time doesn't matter. Living in the moment, but damn me if I want this to come in 10 years. But damn me if I want this to come in 10 years. So the way that I deal with time, very similar to the way I deal with any negative thing, is I understand where it's coming from. Everyone will have a different reason, or there will be a general selection of reasons, but most people will have a different reason for why time is such a problem. Some people may be worried that if it takes too long, they'll lose feelings. And I know that sounds weird, but I've had people say to me before that they're worried that they're going to lose feelings, as in the person manifesting will lose feelings. And I'm like, but surely if you just lose feelings, you'll be then free to just go for whoever you want. And I'm like, what? It doesn't make sense to me, that one. So some people will be worried about it for that. Some people will be worried about if it takes too long, the person might get with someone else. Some people might worry that if it takes too long, it means that they're not a good manifester. So other people will have different reasons for why time is such a problem to them. So the first thing that I would recommend you do, if you haven't already, is actually understand what your time kryptonite is. Why is time a concern for you? And then work on it at a root cause. So let's say, for example, if you're worried it's going to take too long because they're going to find someone else, you'll be able to see that your time kryptonite is the fact that you may not feel good enough to be able to retain their attention or get them back, so to speak. Once they meet someone else, that's kind of GG, game over. So work on it at a root cause. And you'll probably find that the more that you work on it at the root cause, that concern of time might not come up as much because you are no longer fearing the thing that time was kind of a smokescreen for. Another thing that I recommend you do for time, and this is, again, like the why would I care Band-Aid method. Why would you care? Why would you care if it takes so long? You're living your life. You're doing this, and this, and just start living your life if you're not already, while simultaneously manifesting. And you'll find that, yes, obviously you still aren't going to want it to take 10 years. No one will, but you'll probably find that the more that you're living your life on a day-to-day basis, really enjoying it, working on it at the root causes, asking yourself, why would I even care if it takes so long? You'll find yourself just happily just going through the days. You're going to live those 10 years anyway. So would you rather commit to the process, work on it as much as you need to guarantee your person within those 10 years? Or would you rather waver, question time, go back and forth, and basically have a really muddy journey and on and off, potentially not get your person within the next 10 years? Because if you're going to live them anyway, and you know this is someone that you want, what do you have to lose? That's pretty much how I deal with it. Oh, skipped there. Oh, there's a lot of comments. I don't think I'm going to be able to answer all the comments again today. I do apologize. Sundance says, I'm using 1 or 2 affirmations, but then change it when I feel it's not working or I feel like I'm getting bored of it. Should I stick to one affirmation? So you don't need like one affirmation. I personally have about 30 that I like. And then when I do like an affirmations like routine, so to speak, I'll sort of pick a select few and then just go through them. So you don't need one specific affirmation, and you can switch them up whenever you feel like it. I personally will switch them up when I feel like having a variation. For example, if I have an affirmation of I've reached 35,000 subscribers, and an affirmation of all of my videos go viral, and an affirmation of I'm so grateful to have so many supportive subscribers. They all kind of detail the end, or to a degree detail the end. But maybe one day I just want to focus on my videos just doing really well. So I'll focus on that affirmation. The next day I might want to have just a surge of subscribers, focus on that. The next day I might just want to have loads of lovely comments, focus on that. So I'll just do the affirmations based on what I feel like in the moment. One thing that I will say though, definitely don't change your process if you feel like it's not working, because if you feel like it's not working, it's not going to work. So instead of giving in to that feeling, try to work on that feeling instead. Try to work on the part of you that's like, oh, it's not working, I need to move on. Because if you waver in what you're doing because you feel like it's not working, how could you ever expect it to work if we know that our thoughts create? So instead of concerning yourself with this one isn't working, let me try the next one, concern yourself on committing to it to ensure that it does actually work. If you change it because you're bored, or if you change it because you just don't like it, that's fine. But if it's from the basis of, I don't have my desire, so I need to change this, that's when it can potentially cause you some problems. Amy says, hi, you both. Apologies, Kate's not here. I'll try to remember to let her know. Hi, you both look so good together. My question is how to know you are on the right path of self-concept and manifestation and affirmations and working when situation seems impossible. The way you can know that you're on the right path with your self-concept generally is because certain things that may have triggered you before don't trigger you as much anymore. That's usually a very good sign, or you have like a heightened sense of self-worth, or you begin to not care about your manifestation as much. The reason why, obviously, if you're on the, like, if you're beginning to build up your sense of self and you don't care about things that triggered you before, this shows that you're building up that, that I'm going to say callous. It's not really the word that I'm looking for, but you're kind of building up that inner callous. You know that you're stronger than you were before, a better person you were before. That's why you don't care as much about the negatives. And in terms of not caring about your desire overall as much, you're filling that void that you thought the desire was going to fill for you. And therefore, because you are doing that, you don't need the desire as much. So self-concept perspective, that's a very good sign that you're on the right path. As for your manifestation in yourself, quite often you'll find that if you think of your desire, the first natural thoughts that come up are positive. That's usually a good sign that you're on the right path. You won't think about it as much is also usually a very good path. These are good signs. They aren't like one shoe fits all. It's not every single person will have this exact experience. And if you're not in this exact experience, you're doing it wrong. This is just generalities, because I work in majority, not minority in this instance, because there's no point talking to a handful of people when the rest are like, well, what do we do? You know? So I do talk in generalities when I do this stuff. But yes, that's a good sign. Another good sign is sort of similar to the self-concept in that sense of self-worth. When you think about your desire, stuff that's triggering, it won't be as triggering because in your mind, you kind of know that already yours, or you'll kind of feel that internal shift of, yep, it's on its way, it's coming, I don't really need to do anything, furthering that. So those are some good signs. Infinite says, hey, how do I disconnect from someone I no longer want to manifest and keep them out of my thoughts? Try your best to let go. How could you do this? Because this is an interesting one. This isn't disconnecting to reduce attachment. This is disconnecting entirely. One thing that I would say in this instance is to not let your thoughts, when they do go to them, mean anything, you know, because if you give power to those thoughts, like, oh, why am I still thinking this, blah, 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 you're obviously clearly giving power to those thoughts and clearly showing that they're still in your existence. So if you find yourself thinking about them, try to just let those thoughts pass and not even focus on them. If there's something specific that you can do, as in like to state that they are removed, i.e., let's say it's your colleague that always sits next to you at work, manifest a new colleague, just saying, oh, the colleague that sits next to me is so amazing, I enjoy talking to them, or like, you know, like, I'm so grateful to have had a new colleague that sits next to me, or something like that, you know, something that implies the disappearance of this person, and you will experience it. Loneheart Wolf says, hi, Matt and Kay. Howdy, howdy, Loneheart. Thank you for showing up. Drakari Snow says, also, how to let go of an old story that was actually good, loved, chosen, prioritized, but insecurities popped up and out of nowhere, it's gone. I am curious, what do you mean? So let go of the old story that was actually good, loved, chosen, prioritized, but insecurities popped up and out of nowhere, it's gone. So you want to let go of the stuff that was good. I may be reading that wrong. So you're saying you want to let go of the story that detailed good things. Is that what you mean? You might have to explain that. I do apologize. I'm going to sneeze. Oh, I sneeze like a bitch. Roki says, what will happen if I'm no longer attached to SP and not thinking about him that much? You're free. I know it sounds ridiculous. This light makes my teeth look yellow. That's gross. That's because I got a yellow lamp. I just basically put myself on blast there. I don't know why I did that. You're free. I know it sounds ridiculous because manifestation is the act of getting anything you desire, but so many people in so many instances will cage themselves to a specific person because they know they can get them. And when you're not thinking, I don't know your specific example, so you might not have actually been in all that much like care and severity in regards to it, but you are in this instance, you're free to manifest whatever it is that you desire. You're free to basically be free. And if you choose to continue manifesting your person, you quite literally can just continue to manifest them through choice, but you're free to do whatever you want. So in terms of what will happen in regards to the actual manifestation itself, because that's I'm assuming is what you were actually referencing, whatever is in line with your thoughts. That's all it is. If you're thinking good stuff, but you're just not as attached, that's fine. Like I said earlier, some people manifest things by like one thought just because they have less care about it. So if you care less, but then are thinking good things, you'll probably find yourself getting those good results because you don't have much opposing story. Anonymous says, hey, Matt, thanks for this live Q&A. You're very welcome. I just have a basic question. Suppose I am a person who lives very neat and tidy, but why did I meet someone who is completely my opposite? That would be depending on your thoughts and assumptions and stuff. I know a lot of like law of attraction stuff will kind of say that you'll get your opposite, or do they say opposite? Actually, that might be wrong. I may have got that wrong. I think they say that they get your exact type, which is probably why you're actually asking this question. Okay, ignore that line. I'm pretty sure I just got that completely wrong. But yeah, so it very much depends on your thoughts. I don't operate under the basis of you'll get your like mirror. People will mirror you as in your thoughts and assumptions. People will mirror, but I don't feel like just because you're neat and tidy that guarantees that you'll get a neat and tidy person, because we don't get what we like. People don't mirror us as in directly, like Katie doesn't. Me and Katie are completely different, basically, so to speak, but you'll get what your dominant thoughts and assumptions are in alignment with. So just a stupid example, and this might not be what you thought at all, but if you had an assumption that the opposite sex to you is really messy, just as an example, that's why you've now got a messy person. Or if you find that you had these thoughts about how you'd love to meet someone for a relationship, but you're worried that this person will mess up your neatness with their chaos, that's why you now have this. So it will all depend on your thoughts and assumptions. People don't directly mirror what we like, our being, so to speak, but they'll mirror what we assume to be true. Otherwise, Katie would be an absolute asshole because I am.
I'm just in a different way.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Lone Wolf Heart says, I've now got a new potential love interest. That's cool. So my SP has been fading from my mind. I'm now feeling like I don't believe he will come back, but I still want him. Help on getting back to believing. Thanks. So you've got a new love interest, but your previous SP is fading away, and you don't believe he'll come back, but you still want him. So are you basically saying that you either or, you've got a new interest, but you can't quite want the old person as well? In this instance, you don't need to believe it. I know you said like I need help getting back onto believing. Manifestation isn't about believing. Now, I don't have a way to explain this, and I really hope someone will understand what I'm saying and will be able to voice message me a message explaining it so I can then explain it. If you believe something, you don't know it. Does that make sense? You can't have a belief in something that you know, because belief is, how do I explain it? Like belief, let me see if the definition comes up. Okay, so an acceptance that something exists or is true, especially one without proof. So yeah, so a belief is the acceptance of something being true without proof. Knowing, what's the definition of that? I might be, it's because I might be digging myself a hole here, but I really hope someone knows what I'm talking about. Knowing or suggesting that one has knowledge or awareness that is secret or known to only... Okay, that's not the kind of knowing that I meant. Basically, you know what I mean? So if you believe in something, it's the idea that it exists without truth. If you know it to be true, that means there's proof, which is why it's become a knowing. I really hope that what I'm trying to get at makes sense there. So have you got an explanation?
No, I was just going to say, I think that I'm not sure if I could word it any better, but I think I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So if something is there, you know it is there. You do not have to believe exactly. It's there because it's already there right in front of you. So you don't have to believe that you can create something. You just have to know that it's in existence and it's there.
Exactly. So you're saying here, help on getting back to believing. You don't need to actually believe it. You just need to persist in the knowing that it's there.
But makes sense.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So
Otherwise, I thought you'd just go and
I just continue
like,
just
keep
fucking
trying
going
to-
on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm getting at here is that you know that manifestation exists, which is obviously why you're here. You know how it works. Generally, you may not have had as so much success as in like you understand it to like you could just manifest like that, but you at least generally know what is best, what's not best, and it's just a case of practicing it and putting it into practice. So you know that you can still claim your manifestation to exist even while not believing it, but it's the act of repetition of claiming that it's in existence right now that will manifest your person. So if you have this new person, you can focus on them. If you have your old person, you want them, focus on them. If you want them both, why not say, I'm in the most loving, passionate, committed relationship with person or person or and person? Just whatever way that you want to word it, and basically imply that one of them is in existence right now. And instead of trying to convince yourself to believe it again, just put it into practice. Just literally just do it. I know it sounds ridiculous, and I hope that you kind of picking up what I'm putting down in this instance, but believing is the idea, like it says, without proof. Manifestation is meant to be having that proof. So you don't need to believe, you need to just get back to knowing. And the state of knowing is by claiming it in existence right now. Hope that helped.
I love that your advice always ends up being just do it.
Basically,
Just don't do
it's
it.
because
Just...
application is 90% of this. Like thoughts create, don't think bad thoughts, think good thoughts. It's very simple. Just do it. Now, many people will be like, well, I can't just think good thoughts because of this. And then that's where all the YouTube videos come in. But if we boil it down to the very much basics, it is just think about shit as though it already exists and just stay true to that thought. But you have to actually do it. Watching 10 minutes of videos stops you from thinking about your desire being here for 10 minutes. So actually just apply it, That's why it always boils down to that. But hopefully my explanation at least gave some sort of help. And I hope other people understand what I meant by the difference between believing and knowing.
I think lots of people did. A lot of people have put their versions in it a bit lower down.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm just too smart. I can't even explain it. Amy says, how to tackle seeing his happy pics with third party. Now I'm not able to imagine us together. This is freaking me out. Okay, so first off, try to remove any way of you seeing that stuff. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the live stream, I don't know if you were here there, so I'm going to reiterate it. Whenever you give yourself things that you need to overcome, you're just adding more hurdles to your own journey. You're just adding more things that are going to make it worse. Obviously, sometimes accidents happen. Like you might be scrolling through Facebook and it comes up as a suggested friend and you're not friends because you deleted them because you were trying to avoid stuff. Shit like that happens. But if you are actively looking, try to remove anything that will cause those issues. That's just something to go forward. Obviously, I know that doesn't help you now because you've already done it. But going forward, try to remove anything that could potentially create some problems for you. How do you tackle this with the third-party situation? I would advise working on the element of yourself that has been triggered by the fact that there's a third party. Now, again, like I mentioned earlier, there's always going to be that because there's a third party that people will say. That's the surface level reason why, that's the justification for your feelings. Why do you actually feel hurt by there's a third party? Is it because they're prettier than you? Is it because it means that you feel you'll never get them? Is it because it shows that you're not as good as other people? What is it that this is actually triggering? And then work on that from a basis. Because when you work on it from the root cause, it kind of has a knock-on effect, and you'll find that you actually don't care about the third party in that way as much. And then you'll find it much easier to go to your end result because your obstacle is no longer actually an obstacle. If that makes sense. As for the imagining us, maybe try just for a little bit speaking affirmations and stuff. You may not be able to imagine effectively, but any one of us can say the statement, I'm in the most loving, passionate, committed relationship with my specific person. Anyone can say that out loud. You can force yourself to, you can just do it on repeat. You can take some time to meditate and do it. That is a statement that is so much easier to do than visualizing. So if you're struggling to visualize, try that for a bit while working on all the other elements. And then when you feel better, then go back to the visualization if that's what resonates with you most. But the main aim is to just continue to just work past it, work through these feelings, and then effectively go forward from there. Satyam says, I wish my uncle never came to us. We fed him, we give him the ticket to the train, we let him stay at our house for 14 months and feed them and give them 20. Is that lakh rupees? Yeah, lakh rupees. And what he did is spread a lie about my father. If that's how you feel, then I would recommend you go with your affirmation. If you genuinely wish he never came, go with that affirmation. If that is your end result and you want to revise it in that way, go for it. Who am I to say otherwise? I create the question. Says, hi, Matt and Katie. Thank you both. You're very welcome. However, I'm disappointed you haven't got a question since you create the questions. I don't mean it. Shani says, "Hi Matt, having a not so nice night." Oh, that's sad. That's not good. I don't know what to say. Hopefully, the rest of your thing I'll be able to help with. SB has sent me not so nice messages. Feeling like shit, even though I know 3D doesn't matter. Any advice on that? I've been doing my mental diet for a while. So first off, I do apologize for you having a bad night. Obviously, I know it's not my fault, but it sucks, and I wish you were having a good night instead. However, oh, I just pressed something. Oh, there we go. In this instance, your best bet is to focus on you for a little bit. Quite often, people, very similar to what I've spoken about, will put too much importance on another individual. And then when the other individual doesn't conform to it, it kind of reiterates that disappointment, reiterates that negative perspective that we have. What I recommend in this kind of incidents, especially when you're having a bad time, is to bring that energy back to you. Have fun tonight. Go do something that you enjoy. Play chess with the computer. I don't know, play Marco Polo with the cat. Do something that you'll enjoy. Do something that makes you feel good and feel happy, to bring some of that energy back to yourself and to realize that you can actually do things on your own and be happy about it. While simultaneously, or you can either do this part before or after you've done that, depending on how you feel it resonates with you. Sit with those feelings. Like, it is negative. Feel it through, feel the disappointment, feel the negative, to actually let it go. Don't ruminate on it from a perspective of, oh, woe is me, this proves I'm not good enough, this, and this. But sit with it to really allow yourself to feel. Because I think that's quite a big thing in manifestation. Many people don't allow themselves to do things. They don't allow themselves to feel. They don't allow themselves to live their life as much. They don't allow themselves to manifest without concern. They don't allow many things. They cage themselves in and then they struggle. Allow yourself to feel these emotions and understand that whether you're manifesting or not, receiving negative messages from anybody is a disappointing and an upsetting moment. So allow yourself to feel it, let it go, then go do things you enjoy, or do things you enjoy first. And then when you feel kind of in a better place, then sit with it and go, okay, why do we feel like this? But just remember that this is your only life and you need to try your best to enjoy it. Like, you don't want to waste your time with someone in the moment that is not feeling good for you. Separate yourself from them. When you feel better, then go back to manifesting them to be the best version, because you don't deserve any kind of negative. So why should you accept it? We laugh at it. Is there a mean comment?
Also, just so you know, there is an insane amount of comments.
I know, I'm very far behind.
Yeah, very, very far behind.
Oh,
might
so
maybe
difficult.
Say no more comments for now.
Oh shit, what time is it? Oh shit. Yeah, sorry people, I didn't even realize the time. If we could stop with the comments, I'm probably not going to get through all of these today.
Rapid fire for a bit.
Yeah,
see how many
I'll give like shorter explanations. I do apologies, peoples. So Maria Hermana says, "Hi guys, as I said in a lot of comments on your videos help me a lot. Now feeling like I cannot manifest, but I know this is just a process. Any advice on how to overcome this?" I'm not sure why you're feeling like you can't manifest, like the specific reasons, so I can't really give you direct advice. However, I would like to point out that you're always manifesting. If you were to look back over your life, you will see that there is a lot of links between things that you were thinking and things that then ended up happening. The things that you assume to be true right now about the opposite sex, relationships, money, all this kind of stuff, you're probably very much within that cage of what you've been thinking. So at least look to your life as evidence to suggest that you can absolutely manifest. You do it all the time. What you're trying to do here is consciously manifest. You're consciously trying to direct that focus instead of letting it just go wherever you want. It's kind of like a lamp without a lampshade. That's what manifestation is. It's just having a lamp go, poof, put a lamp on it, directs it downward. That's basically what you're trying to do. In that instance, just remember, all you got to do is try. What do you have to lose? If you can't manifest, nothing changes. That's the worst thing that can happen to you, is nothing changes. If you like really commit yourself to it, you run the possibility of creating what you want to create. So why not just commit yourself to the process and see what you can do? Satyam says, "What the fuck is wrong with my phone? Damn, I hate autocorrect." Me too. I just wish I could throw my phone in the bin sometimes, but I can't, because then I wouldn't be able to talk to you guys half the time. I dropped my laptop earlier. That was a bit of a scary moment. My laptop's like how I do this stuff. Faizan says, "Man, your girlfriend is very cute." Do you want to answer that?
Thanks.
She's going to go blushing now.
Yeah, I'm just going to, bye.
But no, she is. I did well. Violinist Yogesh Official said, I don't know why I said a whole one. My SC working in other areas perfectly, and I feel so good. But for my SP, 4-year, either fourth relationship or 4-year relationship, not seeing any movement till now. I know these movements behind it, but can you relate? But you can relate. Sometimes it feels different. I'm not 100% sure what you mean there, so I'm just going to answer based on what I think, just because I want to keep the ball rolling, because we got to jump off. your self-concept is based on your self-concept, in my opinion, should be changed to concept of self. I know it sounds ridiculous because it's just the words flipped, but what I mean by that is self-concept in a lot of people's eyes is how you see yourself, which is part of it. But self-concept is everything involving you. So self-concept is not one overarching thing, as in I feel good, yay. Self-concept is I feel good in money, so I get good in money. But I can also feel negative self-concept in regards to relationship, which is why I'll get great when it comes to money, but bad in terms of relationship. Self-concept should be changed to concept of self, because it is your concept of self within, or sorry, concept involving self. So it is your concept involving anything that involves you. So you can think money is incredible, I'm amazing, money comes to me easily, and have amazing time with money. But then you can also feel maybe a bit negative about relationships and yada yada yada, and that's why money may be great, but relationships suck. So if you feel like you have a negative concept involving self when it comes to money, when it comes to relationship, look deeper into why that is the case and work on it from there. Because just saying I'm amazing probably not going to cover everything if you're simultaneously thinking about how insecure you are when it comes to love, but you don't have those kind of thoughts when it comes to money. So if you ever feel like some things are great and other things aren't, try working on those things that aren't more specifically. Katie Johnson says, great answer. Thank you so much, Matt. Makes sense. You are very welcome. Juan says, sir, I affirm 3D, no movement, SP. I think I answered your thing earlier. Well, no, I did answer your thing earlier, and I think that this was probably sent before I got around to answering it. So I'm just going to reiterate just briefly. Align your thoughts with what you want, not what you don't want. Don't look for the 3D for evidence. Remember, manifestation is claiming ourselves to be someone new. We are claiming ourselves to be someone different. So if you are in that experience, you wouldn't be looking at the lack of movement within the 3D. It would just be your reality. Therefore, don't look at the lack of 3D now, because all that is doing is separating you from the desired version you want to be. Queenie says, do circumstances really don't matter? I really pushed my SP. He never goes back to anyone. What makes me special? Please help. What makes you... So first off, circumstances don't matter at all. No. What makes you special is what you claim to be true about yourself. If you claim you're in that loving relationship, if you claim you're special, if you know your sense of self-worth, if you build up that sense of self-worth, that's what will make you special. The reason why he may not have gone back to the other people, because they weren't assuming he was going to. They were assuming he doesn't go back to other people, and that's why he never did. You are different because you know how to change that narrative within your mind by claiming he's already come back to you. He does come back to you, and all of those things that you want. Trial it and see how circumstances don't matter. Instead of, this isn't just for you, this is for everyone. Instead of wondering, do circumstances matter? Why not prove it to yourself that they don't by actually applying the work and not worrying about if they do or don't matter? What do you have to lose? The circumstance is already there. So why not prove that it doesn't matter by changing it instead of allowing it to mull over in your head? Satyam says, bro, I need help. I just want my uncle to go away from my life and from my family life. I can't take it anymore. I don't care if it gives him any kind of power. I just want him to get out of my reality. I assume I would have addressed your comment after you've sent this. I'm assuming you've already got the answer. But just to reiterate, if that's really what you want, your end result, then go with the affirmation you made, because that would revise the situation perfectly fine. Haiti says, for the person who says that his SP only sends memes, dude, I would like my SP to send me messages, even if it just got me to send me memes. Yeah, I thought there would be a few people that would think that way. I absolutely agree. If I was in a situation of no contact, I'd be livid at someone else complaining about only getting memes. But yeah, everyone's at a different pace of their journey. So you'll get there. Haiti, you'll definitely get there. Desiree says, hi, Matthew. So happy to see you. Happy to see you too. Thank you for showing up. I create the question, says, is checking my SP's posts music playlist in order to respond, as that's how we communicate, part of messing with the middle, or part of the least resistant route to getting back together? If you're forcing it, and if you're getting a negative reaction and you feel like you're continuously trying to push it, I would advise you stop, just purely because you don't want to continue forcing it and continue having to create those obstacles within your mind. If it's neither good nor bad, neutral, or if it's good, continue doing it. You don't really got anything to lose. But the main work is what you're doing up here. Don't be doing these things in order to get them back, because that shows that you're in separation of having them. If you're going to do them from the perspective of we are together. This is why we are doing these things. Takata says, hi, I feel in the state of having what I want and I make robotic affirmations, but sometimes I feel like I'm losing my results with SP. What do I do? I think about him a lot. I don't fully know what you mean by losing your results. I mean, I'm assuming you mean like you're not getting there, or maybe that they're sort of falling back a little bit. My advice, don't focus on what you don't want. Focus continuously on the affirmations, on embodying that state of being with this person, and let anything that doesn't align with that fall away. Because the more that you feel them falling away, the more that you focus on them falling away, the more that you're going to create that. You say you think about them a lot, so maybe try to reducing a little bit of that care towards them, as I've mentioned in this video, in this live stream, sorry. MSAR says, love your channel. Thank you very much. Life-changing and encouraging. Recently have been in a positive mindset going to the gym and staying active in work and music. Recently manifest 2 of my ex-partners. Instead of those I intend to manifest. Am I on the right track? So first off, thank you for the kind words. Really appreciate them. Second off, quite often people will find exes come back first. And if they persist in it, usually they will get other people, the people they actually desire coming in after. So don't let this be a negative. See this as a positive that you're on the right path. Continue to persist. Marnie says, hi, Matt and Katie. Hope you're both well. Very good. Thank you very much. I just wondered what your thought was on changing self-concept. Sometimes I will have amazing results and then I feel it randomly become messy, which I can only put down to changing SCs, but I don't know how to always deal with it as it can feel confusing and overwhelming. So I just wondered what your thoughts was on changing self-concept. Sometimes I will have amazing results and then I feel it randomly becomes messy, which I can only put down to changing SC, but I don't know how to always deal with it as it can feel confusing and overwhelming. So the simplistic answer to this, or the way that I think you mean, is when you notice something comes up, see what part of yourself gets triggered by that event. So if you say that you feel like it becomes messy, what part of you feels triggered or feels like you're reacting to the element that it feels messy? Generally, that will probably be the cause of your self-concept problem. This is, again, generally, I don't know 100% sure. You'd have to give me a circumstance for me to sort of feed through. But generally, this will be the root cause of your negative self-concept if there is a self-concept issue. And that will be the element that you will want to work on. You'll say, okay, this part of me feels triggered because it makes me feel not good enough, just for, as an example. You'll know that you don't feel good enough when it comes to relationships, if that's what you're talking about. And then you want to work on the element of feeling good enough within relationships. Alexandra Aodish says, how long did it take you to manifest Katie back? Not too long, but the thing that I like to reiterate whenever I'm asked this question is my manifestation was not to manifest Katie back. My manifestation was to manifest Katie back and have our relationship better than before, because I made a lot of mistakes. I was an absolute asshole and I didn't want the same shit to repeat. So while it didn't take long for me to manifest Katie back, it took a couple of months to really get to a point where I would say my manifestation was complete. We were good. Everything was amazing. And that was my success point. So I like to reiterate that just because a lot of people think getting the person back is the end result. And in a lot of cases it can be, but you don't want it to be the way that it was before in most instances. Otherwise, why did it end in the first place? So I always like to sort of just reiterate that extra step that I took. Going to answer a couple more, and then I'm going to have to basically head off because, as usual, we haven't eaten. Goshem says, have been a long-time follower of Joseph Ally, and while he's been practically a ghost lately on YouTube, I came across your channel and want to thank you for everything you do and how you explain everything. And by the way, my SP's name is also Katie. First off, I actually don't know much about Joseph Ally anymore. I used to watch him way back before I started really getting into this properly. And I liked his stuff back then. I haven't really seen anything of his lately, but I'm really glad that you found the channel, and I'm, thank you for the kind words. I'm glad it all helps. And SP Twinsies.
Katie's are the best, obviously. You need to agree now.
I do. Yeah. Katie's are all, yeah, they're good.
Yeah, really great.
Dan Clement says, hey, Matt, hope you're well. Very good. Thank you very much. Not SP related, but I visualized something to me that implied changing jobs. Now I may have to quit without having another one set up because of strict return to office. I'm a bit worried, so was wondering what you would advise. In this instance, I would relax. I know it sounds ridiculous, but you were visualizing yourself at a different job, and then this could potentially be your part of your bridge of incidents to basically get you to that other job. Now, when I say relax, I don't necessarily mean that you have to just sit in your bedroom and hope for the best. Continue to assume that you've got that new job. Continue to visualize, continue to do all of those amazing things. If you want to look for another job, frame it under the way of, I'm doing this just to see what's out there, not because you need a job. Try to remove that need from manifesting that job. But relax in knowing that it's going to work out. This is all part of your bridge of incidents, and go with the flow as opposed to panicking, fearing, worrying. This is more than likely part of your bridge of incidents. This is what you wanted to a degree. I know that may not have been this path, but this is leading you to what you wanted. So enjoy it. Get excited about what's to come. Tori says, hi, Matt. Often I started to feel calm and more relaxed. I don't get thoughts like I have to affirm now as I used to at the beginning of my manifestation journey. Is it a good sign or not? It's about SP. Great sign. Whenever it comes to anything, I would say this is generally a good sign. One, because it's freeing you from maybe that sort of attachment. And two, the analogy that I like to use is you don't often think about cooking dinner when there's a plate of it in front of you. This is kind of that thing. Your subconscious mind has been fed this story. So why would you feel the need to continuously say it if you already, to a degree, internally feel like it's there? That kind of thing. So I'd say this is a great sign. I will do. Lone Wolf Heart says, thank you both. I totally understand. Glad to hear it. And I'll do one more just quickly. We will do Crystal Linda says, I agree. Deep down is something we know to be true, but have a hard time believing in it. So we never see it in the 3D. Or I don't know if I've missed something that's explaining that.
That was all the comments that were coming in when you was explaining the whole thing that, you know, knowing and believing.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I see.
So there was a bunch of comments about people sort of
giving their 2 cents. Okay, that's cool. All right, last one then. So Samira Butler says, does time matter? We haven't had any contact since June. Time does not matter. Time does not matter whatsoever. It's just a logical construct to explain away the linear decay of life, basically, so to speak. But to your subconscious mind, time does not matter whatsoever. I've just seen another comment that made me giggle. I'm going to read that one after. So time doesn't matter. The fact that you are not in contact since January doesn't mean anything in terms of manifestation. But what it does mean is it means you're focusing on the wrong thing and continuously feeding your subconscious mind. We haven't been in contact since January. How can you expect your subconscious mind to feed you the story of we're in contact and everything's amazing if you keep thinking we haven't had contact since January? Because that says we haven't had it now. You know, whether or not your subconscious mind knows what January is, by you thinking we haven't had contact since, all it hears is we haven't had contact. So how can it push it out? You're not feeding it the correct story. Also, I just realized I keep like blocking Katie out my thought, giving her the little Mike Wazowski treatment from Monsters Inc. But so how can you expect it to push out the story you actually want to experience when you're claiming we haven't had contact since? Time does not matter. It's what you're telling yourself that does. And for the final thing, I create the questions, says, brilliant. Thank you, Matt. I hope you're not disappointed now that I asked your question. Nah, you're all good. You're back in my good books. So thank you everyone so much for showing up to this live stream. I do apologize that I did not get through every single one. Obviously, with 50 active viewers pretty much the entire way through the live and many questions and me wanting to answer them as thoroughly as I can. Obviously, there's going to be a few that I miss. If you really need your question answered, obviously you can comment when this live stream goes live and we'll answer the questions then. If you really need me to do like a deep dive, you really want to work with me, obviously all of my stuff is linked down below for you to come work with me on a one-to-one basis, but it's entirely up to you whether you leave it for the comment section or actually come work with me. If it's not a pressing question, then I really hope you're one of the first few people in the next live stream to ask me then, because obviously then you'll definitely get your question answered. There will be a giveaway tomorrow as well. We did a poll and a big chunk of the votes, I think over 50%, said that they wanted a 1-week coaching with Katie for free. Now, the reason why we've started to do this, and I was just looking for the poll just to see what the numbers actually were. The reason why we're doing this, with the growth of my channel, my client list has absolutely exploded. So many new clients, and I love working with you all. But the only problem is I either have to put people on a waiting list, which means you could potentially be waiting for a long time if it's email coaching, stack up the prices so that not as many people come to me, which I really don't want to do. As you guys know, I've tried my best to keep my prices low because obviously I want to help as many people as possible while obviously being able to fund my family life off of it. Or just straight up deny people coaching, which I suppose is similar to the waiting list, but instead of putting you on a waiting list, I'll just say, no, I can't take you, or get Katie involved. So we're trialing it with a 1-week free coaching based on whoever wins the giveaway tomorrow. I will be overshadowing. So it won't just be here, you're giving to Katie, she's just going to do her best. I will be keeping an eye on it and actually going through it with her to really make sure that you guys, whoever wins, is definitely getting the best coaching that you can possibly get from us. This is just a way to train Katie up so she can help me in the future. And I know a few of you would actually probably prefer to work with Katie more so than me because you'll feel like you'll get a different way of dealing with things in certain instances. So for some people, this could actually be a blessing in disguise as well as, you know, to help this channel out. but we will be trialing it. So the winner of tomorrow's giveaway will be getting a 1 week free coaching with Katie. And because it's to help us out as well, we'd absolutely love feedback. So this is just as much for you as it is for us. And yeah, we're going to go from there. And out of 257 votes, exactly 50% voted for 1 week of with Katie, which I think is really awesome. It just shows how much you guys want her involved, which I think is really great to hear. But yeah, so I'll be Victory 302 says, I'm kind of upset because I didn't get a notification about you going live. Yeah, we had a little bit of a mix up about when we could do it due to times and stuff because of some stuff that was happening here, which is why we're actually doing it in here instead of downstairs because of the mix up. So I couldn't post it early because if I couldn't then do it when I wanted to, you guys would be sat there waiting and then wouldn't have been notified. So I kind of just had to go with the lesser of the two evils route. So I do apologize for that. But yeah, so we're going to be looking into bringing Katie into it so we can take on more people so that more people can be coached and basically just not have me killing myself at the laptop by doing 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., which is what I've been doing a couple of days this week.
It's even longer than that. You say 10 a.m. It's like 7 a.m. Like it's the minute your eyes open and then 12 o'clock at night you sat on his phone like
still doing stuff.
People back and I'm like, stop it. But yeah, just to clarify that the week trial will be with me and everything. But going on from there, like once I am coaching, you will know who's going to coach you. Yeah. It's not like you'll just be like playing and then getting me and being like, oh.
Yeah, there'll be a on the website, which I'll add to it. There will be a way where you can actually pick who you go through, the coach that you go through. Or I'm thinking about adding it as a separate thingy that maybe we'll have to work out the logistics of it, but like a separate way so that the money will go to her instead of me and just stuff like that. So there'll be ways to separate it so you'll actually know. But yeah, so it's just something that we're trialing for now, just to make sure that I can. Oh, I've zoomed in really far so that I can basically just so that I can have some help, so that I can help as many people as possible without having to rack up the prices just to sort of deter people away, or without putting you on an extremely long waiting list. So this is the lesser of evils in a way that benefits everyone. I'm not saying that having Katie as a coach is an evil, but you know what I mean? It's the best way that we can help as many people without damaging our side of things too much. So I really hope you guys show up for tomorrow's video. The topic of the video is going to be basically more of a deep dive on how to let go of the need and attachment, and why I think letting go is a misconception, that you shouldn't let go of your desire, you should let go of the need for it. And as always, the giveaway is going to be just comments. Basically, it's the best way for the YouTube algorithm to pick up and get engagement, and it's the best way to keep it as fair as possible to a degree. Obviously, I know some people may think that their comments were better than other people's, but I have a really bad sense of humor. So if you're going to post a joke,
find the driest, worst joke that you can, and then be like, yeah.
Do you know, the biggest part of my humor at the moment is basically laughing at how awful of a boyfriend I am to Kate. I just make jokes about why she should just leave for someone else. It makes me laugh. I make myself laugh. So honestly, what you think is funny, don't post. Post something that isn't funny to you, and it'll probably be funny to me. But yeah, any kind of comment, and I've waffled on for ages. So I really hope you have an all amazing night or day. If I didn't answer your comment, either post it when this goes live, save it for the next live stream, or if it's really dire and you want to work with me, obviously you know where my coaching availability is, or save it for tomorrow's video, and that could be your entry for the giveaway. But whatever you feel more comfortable with. Thank you all so much for showing up and for all the lovely comments and everything. Love having you all. Apologies it was a bit later and that there wasn't a notification. Anyway, between executing peasants and playing Marco Polo with a cat. Yeah, I know. I just make up so much shit. I do apologize, but hopefully you guys get a giggle out of it. Anyway, lovely to see you all, and I hope you have a good rest of your days, mornings, evenings, and catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.
I waved like 3 times.